whoa, 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 yeah, we are in the place to be. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Good morning, everybody. Fitzy's grooving. It's Positive Tuesday today,
Always.
February 9th, 2021. Spooner Health Vaccine Provider Coordinator and Director of Pharmacy, Tim Bassett, will be joining us later in the show to talk about and answer any of your questions regarding COVID-19 and the vaccines that have begun to roll out, and obviously a little bit more so to the, I don't know, what do you call it, general public or something soon. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by ICAA. ICAA is your local social service organization that works together with individuals, families, and the community to create and support local solutions for local needs. Their goal is to help remove barriers so people can access resources, education, and services to increase financial security. For a full list of services, find them on Facebook or check them out on their website at IndianHeadCAA.org. Quick programming note, next Tuesday, Fitzy and I are off for our once-a-month Tuesday off. I don't know what we should call that. And Diane Dryden will be filling in our spot with her popular series, Diane's Kitchen, will be returning. No, it's not a cooking show. Fitzy, good morning. How are you? And real quickly, I just want to say I'm so excited to have Tim on because it's nice to have a representative from Spooner Health that we actually want to talk to and, knows what he's talking about.
Right. I just want to know how he fits all them words that he does on his name tag. Director of this and director of that.
Yeah. It's his business card. It's like see other side.
Yeah.
Turn
right.
over.
He's the most popular guy in Washburn County right now.
Exactly. So what's been new with you since last week?
In the Super Bowl, I watched the Super Bowl and ate a lot of food and watched the game, and Brady won, and just kind of what I thought was going to happen. And
You did call it last week. You did say.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I got the Gatorade pick wrong. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I picked the three colors. I figured I had a better chance.
I saw that on Facebook. That was great. Yeah, and then what happened, I was watching it, like, got tired because I was thinking of food coma because Drusha made so much food. And it's like, I don't see it. Where is it? Like, they didn't show it at first, so
Right.
I guess it was blue.
Yeah, it was a pretty slow game. The commercials were fair, and they were good, and it's always a good time, and good to watch. And there was
What do you think of the halftime show?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Come on now, stay positive. It's Positive Tuesday.
I mean, it was great. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, wasn't my thing either. But that's okay. I mean, I don't know.
Right. A lot of people liked it. I mean, it was, if you get beyond, whatever, but it was good. I mean, they didn't take up a lot of field space. I think that was the way they did it was really cool, but,
Yeah.
But that's just not my type of music.
Yeah. What would you, next year, you're going to pick right now. Who do you want as the halftime show performer next year?
Boy, I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I literally don't even care.
Right.
So,
something that doesn't need to be, just people want to see somebody sing and have a good time and get the crowd pumping. And I think that's what happened, but, I don't know. I wasn't there, and I didn't, wasn't excited about the halftime show.
Yeah, not so much. And I think last time we were on last week, Mark Sterry had said we should do a halftime show.
Yeah.
You're not. And I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, you're not going to go to work or anything else. But ironically, I think we might, or we should next year, like right after the halftime performance, do a 5-minute thing. Yeah. Because I was actually thinking, holy cow, I hope everybody is, not out getting drunk and driving home, and maybe that's a good kind of message to send as well. Like, hey, reminder, this is the time to also be safe. So on that note, how did it go for law enforcement? Obviously with the cold and with COVID, a lot of calls, more than normal, accidents, drunk drivers.
No,
how did it go?
No, actually it went really well. We didn't have any incidents after the Super Bowl or even during the cold weather. We've been doing pretty good, and there's been calls, and but we've been managing them, and There was a lot of events this weekend with the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl, and we had a snowmobile race, and we had an ice fishing contest in Cumberland and in Chautauqua, and they went off without a hitch, and everybody had a good time. And there was a lot of people out and about, even with the cold weather. People wanted to get out and do some stuff. So good to see, great to see the community support, and lots of people had a lot of fun this weekend, even with the cold weather. So appreciate everybody staying safe, keeping our roads safe, and our lakes were safe, and we all got through it.
Yeah. This weekend, I had someone that, I don't know, worked for or part of Rebecca Clayfish, the former Wisconsin lieutenant governor, reached out and asked to come back on the show. She was on, I don't know, 6 months ago. And I said, what would be kind of cool is if she wants to come on and, whatever we, talk about, just positive stuff or something. But I wanted to ask you, and I figured I'd just ask you live here, put you right on the spot.
Why
and I
not?
said we can do the. I'll just do it like just myself and Rebecca Clayfish, or I don't know. Is that someone do you think we'd want on, or no for the show?
Yeah, no, I think anybody that wants to come on and talk about, something going on and be positive and let people know about things that are going on. I mean, I have a guest too that I just asked to come on the show. I just sat through a presentation before this on the UW campus, UW ECBC, which is the Eau Claire or UW Barron County campus, which is now part of Eau Claire. Brittany Nielsen, the director, just gave a speech on how much money kids save by going to college here for 2 years versus a different college. And I think that's the kind of stuff that we want to know about. And so I think Rebecca would be a great guest to have on our show. She might have more than 15 minutes to talk about, so she might want to have her own show. But we can bring the guest on sooner too and talk about let's talk about Madison politics. I mean, that's something that sometimes we don't get to see in the North as much, or get the feel for it. So let's get the feel for what's going on down in Madison. And I welcome Rebecca, and hopefully she can get on.
Yeah. And by the way, when are you going to let me know you have a guest for a upcoming show?
We don't have a date. Any date works. And so Brittany just said she's going around doing this talk about the campus and how UW Eau Claire and UW Barron County mesh together, and how kids can get a guaranteed degree at Eau Claire and things like that. So and the money that parents could save by going to campus here, both the WITC program or the UW Barron County program. I'm part of both campuses. So I think those are great things for people to save money, and their kids get a great education right here in our backyard.
Yeah. So you usually go through at this point anything that you have sent out as press releases or any articles that I have done regarding Barron County, specifically crime and court related. I didn't have any. You didn't send out anything, so we have nothing there. Is there anything else going on in Barron County in terms of the sheriff's office that you want to make sure that we talk about?
No, something interesting. We have a trial next week on a homicide from a last summer stabbing incident. We'll be one of the first campuses or trials to go on. It's kind of like YouTube, only it's not. You can't comment, but that trial is actually going to be live on this TV station. So we'll have a live trial, so you can sit at home and watch this trial here in Barron County. Something new that the state of Wisconsin put on, and we're one of the first. Judge Babler is going to be one of the first judges to have this trial live on TV. So
sweet.
It'll be kind of like court TV live. We're going to do it right here in Barron County, and I mean, it obviously came through COVID and things like that, but so you can actually watch parts of that trial all day, every day. It's a 5-day trial, starts next week. So we have some security issues here, and we're working on that. So that's what we've been working on. Our detectives handled that, and so we'll be putting that trial on, or the Barron County District Attorney's Office will be putting that trial on, and we're a big part of that. So that's what we've been doing this week. Otherwise, no new press releases, and we'll talk COVID when Tim comes on, so we can talk COVID then.
Yeah. Do you see we did put something up from Governor Evers, a press release regarding this is the second time now, legalizing marijuana. Because first of all, marijuana is my favorite topic ever, right? Because everybody has a strong opinion about that. And it's great because I couldn't care less. Do whatever, as long as it's done right. I don't care. Do it, don't do it, whatever. So did you see that? And we should probably talk more at length about this at a later point when we have more time to. And actually, that'd be kind of cool to get Tim's perspective from a director of pharmacy. If there is like just medicinal marijuana, how does that change his world? Is there something different he has to do? But did you see that release, and what are your thoughts on it?
We probably just lost Tim's connection. He probably was like, I ain't talking about that. So,
right.
Tim's like, I want to talk about vaccines, which are controversial enough. I don't want to talk about marijuana.
Yeah.
No, I did see that. Again, I don't think that that's the right thing for Wisconsin. I know there's different opinions out there, and it's the only reason I say that, and I argue this with kids all the time when we talk about it in our high school classrooms, is that the marijuana from the 60s is like drinking a can of beer. The marijuana of today is like drinking a case of beer in one setting. So the strength of the marijuana that you have today versus back in the 60s when it was, more widely accepted, is a lot different strains of marijuana. So that's my concern about it. Other than that, the legislature will have to make up their mind.
Yeah.
I only enforce the laws given to me about that, and so we'll have to look at that. And I don't believe that the money that's behind it, Colorado didn't have that much money. You need to hire people to manage this. How many plants you can grow and all this, and so there's got to be statewide, licensing agents to do all of this. So I realize there's a big number attached to this, but the cost of hiring people to manage these licenses that you give out and how many plants you grow and what's a misdemeanor, what's a felony. There's a lot more that goes into it, I think, in Colorado and.
Real quick, so right now, I'm driving through Barron, and you're on your way home from work, and you pull me over, and you, smell marijuana. Just to be clear, I don't actually. I have enough vices. I don't need drugs. But so how does it work right now? Like, how do you even know? Do I have to get a blood draw? Because there's no like device, right, that you can.
Right.
So how do you know? What's the process there, I guess?
Right. Sir, we pull you over. The odor of it gives us probable cause. You may admit to it. Your driving, might be you swerving or whatever you want. Our canine dog can hit in your car. So there's many ways that we can determine that. But we run you through a field test just like an OWI. You get the same ticket as an OWI. We draw your blood just like an OWI. And then we wait for your blood results to come back. No different than if you're drunk or high, the same exact thing happens. So those procedures are already in place for driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol. We have the same thing.
So then nothing would change if this would come to fruition and it was passed. I mean, most people kind of look at this as you ask for $1,000 and hope you get $300. This is really, most people kind of believe this is really just a hope to get medicinal marijuana. That's the first step. It's hard to just go from 0 to 100. Right. So let's say though everything got passed. Does anything change for you now? That same scenario? Now that it's legal for me to drive. So now what does that stop look like?
No, you're not legal to drive yet. It's the driving isn't a factor, but it's the possession of it. Like I can walk down Main Street Spooner and I can have a baggie of marijuana under a certain amount and I can wave it out the window at the cop driving by and it's legal. And you got to be 21, but you still can't drive under the influence, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. I don't think billions have been made by states because the Colorado hasn't built new schools like they promised. Money's been made, but it's not been billions of dollars.
Sure.
So I would argue that point all day long, that they're not building new schools like they promised in Colorado, that all the money was going to go to the school districts and we were going to have brand new big schools in Colorado with the money. So I'm not saying money's not being made by any means, but I would argue that point. But
all right.
And that's why it's so fun to talk about, right? Because
I know. That's it. We could do a whole show just on this, and we're totally going to. Like in 2 weeks, that's what we're talking about. That is our main topic in 2 weeks. But we want to get Tim on here in a minute. But I'm not sure if you had heard or not about Nick Hellstern, Chief Deputy in Washburn County.
I have not.
He's retiring.
He's going to retire, really?
Yeah, he's like 50.
Oh.
Yeah, not just resigning, but he's retiring, and I heard about this this weekend, so I emailed him and just asked, I'd like to do a story on it, but it's interesting. He doesn't want a story. Because I said I'd like to showcase the fact that you have been in law enforcement. You have been for 25 years serving and protecting the citizens of Washburn County. We should be celebrating that, man.
We should be.
But he didn't want it. He goes, I don't want an announcement. I don't want to. There's no party. There's no nothing. And it's okay. I mean, I'll respect your wishes. I did ask, by the way, if I could talk about it this morning on the show, because I talked to him last night offline, and he did say okay, right? Because I'm not going to do it. I respect, if that's what he wants to do, that's fine. I know Dad has a lot of respect for him. He's worked for him for many years. But yeah, he's going to be retiring.
He's had a great career. I've worked with Nick a lot. He's been a great chief deputy. And maybe we get Mike Richter to come back,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
I think he's enjoying retirement too.
Yeah.
But no, Nick's had a great career. Thank him for his service. If you see Nick, thank him for his service. He's done great for Washburn County.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's made a difference, and that's all we hope for in our careers, is that we made a difference. And, congratulations to Nick on his retirement, and we wish him well. And thanks for, about all you've done and all you've served and the difference you made in a better department you've built, and he deserves a big congratulations. So thanks, Nick.
Yeah, he really does. I have so much respect for Nick. And why is he retiring? That'd be a question for someone to ask Nick. But I do find it interesting, and citizens of Washburn County might want to start paying attention to this. This is our second chief deputy that has now not just resigned, retired under our current sheriff in 2 years. I'm just saying that's a little bit of cause for concern, because at some point you got to go, okay, what's going on? Remember, going back to the Super Bowl, I saw an analogy, or not analogy, I think it was like on Sports Talk the next morning, that they said this is basically the same team that they had last year, the Buccaneers, but it just took a leader to come in, and that leader creates a culture.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you can't talk about that stuff anyway. I should have Dad on or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you should have him on, because I can't talk about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is your peer. It's another sheriff over there. I'm just saying, citizens of Washburn County, you should be paying attention to this stuff. That's not good.
It does take a leader. You're right, and you hope you are as sheriff. You hope you're that leader for your county, and we do a lot of great things here in Barron County, and it's easy to be a leader when you have a great team behind you, and you got to promote your team and talk about their successes and
be present. Show up for work every once in a while.
Good and bad of that. So,
You're watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by ICAA. ICAA is your local social service organization that works together with individuals, families, and the community to create and support local solutions for local needs. Their goal is to help remove barriers so people can access resources, education, and services to increase financial security. For a full list of services, find them on Facebook or check them out on their website at indianheadcaa.org. All right, let's see if I can figure out how to get... I always hit the wrong button, Fitzy. Oh, and now he's just left. Live shows. I love it. Where is it? Yes, one. Maybe this button. Nope, that's the wrong button. Hey, Tim. You're on the screen. Hold on. Host. No, that's the wrong... Oh, man. So
great. I just shut my blind and left you for a minute by yourself.
And then you're gone. I'm like, screw it, if you're leaving. Yeah. Tim, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So Mike Schaefer had recommended having you on, and stated that you know everything about the vaccines, and you'd be a great guest to have on. We literally don't have, unless Fitzy wrote something down, a specific question. So let's just start with, first, who are you and what do you do?
Well, my name is Tim Bassett. I'm the director of pharmacy here at Spooner Health. I've been a card-carrying pharmacist for over 30 years now, the last 12 here at Spooner Health. Almost all of my experience is in the hospital business. Most people wouldn't know what a hospital pharmacist does. They're more familiar with the retail pharmacist at CVS or Walgreens. But every patient that comes to the hospital, whether it's an emergency room patient, a scheduled surgery, a patient out on the floor, they certainly need medication. So that's what we're here for. You had asked me basically what a pharmacist, what's his main job, and his job is to get the right person the right medication on time. And that sounds really simple, That's a really simple way to say it, but
Sure.
we're all different. We all have different kidney function. We all have different liver function. We're all different sizes, certainly, different ages. So, and in order to tailor that medication to that person, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, because I literally don't know anything about what your job does either. So that's perfect. Fitzy, I don't know if you know. I mean, pharmacist. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm having a problem with my chair. It's like breaking while we're doing this. Right. So, pharmacist, you know a lot about vaccines. How is it? Well, I don't know. I watch the news too. Or do you get emails? Do you get phone calls? I mean, how do you know so much about vaccines?
Yeah, it's all of that. So certainly during school, there's a part of your education is about the immune system and how we can spur that immune system to target different things that might be that we might be exposed to. But certainly, just about a year ago, COVID hit the world scene, and like I've been trying to explain to people, it's been a full year research project, and the data seems to change every day, and the information changes every day. What we thought were truths, or what we thought were the best way to treat people a year ago, is certainly different now, and that's why we're so much more successful, because we weren't really 100% sure. There's been a lot of medications that have been rumored, going way back to hydroxychloroquine, which when there are books written about this 10 years from now, we might find out that hydroxychloroquine was a good choice for certain people, but maybe not for everyone. But we've learned a lot. We're much better at treating this horrible virus than we were 11 months ago. But as far as the vaccine's concerned, we're very far ahead, because the technology that is being used for the first two vaccines that were released about a month ago with the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, because of previous pandemics 10 and 20 years ago. So there was a SARS potential pandemic 20 years ago, and then there was a Middle Eastern or MERS virus roughly 10 years ago. Now, why those pandemics died out before they truly became worldwide, we're not sure. But a lot of research was done by these companies 10 and 20 years ago, but there wasn't the money, there wasn't the incentive for them to continue the research. So flash forward to a year ago, a lot of the research has already been done against these coronaviruses, that we just needed to pick up the ball and run with it from there. So there are a lot of people out there that are very skeptical about how fast these vaccines came to market. It's because a lot of the research was done previously. Now, these are different viruses. These are not influenza viruses. These are different and much more difficult to target. But like I said, the research was done in the past. That's why these first two companies that come out now, there's going to be more vaccines to come on the market, and with a little different mechanism of action. But these first two are really what's going to get us going, and have got us going in this part of the state.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point, Tim, and we've changed how we've addressed this the vaccination and coronavirus, because the numbers are going down because we're doing some different things. And I think that's important to say, that we're going in the right direction to beat this and to end this and to go back to normal, if you want to call it. And everybody calls it a new normal. And we went through that with the Kloss case too, of the new normal of what life's going to be like. And coronavirus is going to be similar to, any major event that happens in your life, or, in the region. So I think our public health and our hospitals have done an unbelievable job. And thank you for that information, because I think that's the kind of stuff that we look for, that people are hesitant, like, should we get it? It's only been in production 6 months, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And you just brought that up and said, we've been working on this prior to this, and you're still working on the next thing. You just didn't know what you were working on, kind of, until it came out. So I think that's really cool and good information. And so how many vaccinations have you given at your hospital, or maybe in Washington County, if you have those numbers?
Yeah, so the numbers that are posted are really difficult to try to figure out. In Washington County, the number that was quoted yesterday is over 2,300, or just shy of 2,400. Now, what I don't know, and what I haven't been able to figure it out, is are those 2,400 people or are those 2,400 shots? Because the vaccine regimen is an initial shot and then a booster. So I'm not really sure what those numbers mean, if those are 2,400 complete courses of vaccination or whether those are just first shots.
Sure.
But I do know here at Spooner Health, I did look at the numbers that we've given 600, a little over 600 initial vaccines. And so as time goes on, each week we order more vaccine in, and we're giving booster shots as well as new shots. Now, I will say this, Spooner Health, we were ahead of the game. We got our paperwork in early. In November, Mike asked me to be the vaccine provider coordinator for Spooner Health in early November. We got our paperwork in early. The paperwork, I'm not going to say it was extensive, but any paperwork you do for the state is not easy to do.
That's a nice way to say it. Okay.
We were in line early, so early on we received more vaccines certainly than what we're receiving now. We were very lucky in that we were able to vaccinate all of our employees and those that do functions within our walls here at Spooner Health. So we're lucky with that. And then we were able to extend vaccines to those that qualified per the state guidelines. So if an employee had a mother, father, grandma, grandpa, if they were of appropriate age to receive the vaccine, meaning 65 and over, once the state said that we could start vaccinating those people, we took care of our own here as well. We did not put anyone ahead of anyone in the public. We just basically were trying to shorten the line out in the public so we could give vaccines here. And there's been a little bit of misconception out there that we were vaccinating people ahead of others, and that's certainly not the case. We were just trying to make that public line shorter. We were an authorized vaccinating site. So, and we continue to order vaccine in. Certainly we get a handful of new employees a month, so we offer it to them. And then the rest of the vaccine we make available for the public. The vaccine supply has really gotten tight in the last several weeks.
Why?
We asked for... it's just the supply line and the distribution model. So the vaccine that we order in is the Pfizer vaccine. It has to be kept at roughly 80 degrees below 0 Celsius. So most people don't have freezers.
Well, right now you can just probably put that outside.
You're absolutely right. So it's unstable. So once we get that vaccine in from the vaccine hub, which does store it at that proper temperature, we basically have a short period of time to turn that around and get it into the shoulders out in the public.
I have a question here from someone. Hopefully, Tim, you should be able to see this on your screen. From Stephanie. I live in Barron County. A doctor in Amory. Do I get the vaccine in Polk or Barron?
That's a very good question. We are not turning people away from other counties, although we do recommend that you try to get it where you can, close to home. That person should be available to get it in either county as long as they meet the guidelines that the state's provided. So that is still 65 and up.
Okay. Now, that is one of the reasons we wanted to have you on, because I think we had talked about potentially even early January to have you on as a guest, and instead we had to have Mike Schaefer fill in. So that was a terrible show, of course. But we wanted to have you on when it was closer to the general public getting this. Now, there's like the 1A and the 1B and all this other stuff. But how soon, from your understanding, when is this going to be available to me? I'm in my 40s. I'm not a frontline worker. When can I get it?
Yeah, that's what the state is trying to do. Is we're trying to vaccinate people in stages, going with the most vulnerable. So certainly the elderly are the most vulnerable in our community. Once they get to what they're calling a critical mass, and that might be 75% of the eligible people that are over 65. Once we get to that point, then they're going to say that we can start vaccinating the next group, and we've already received guidance who that next group is going to be. Those are going to be educators and public-facing essential workers, so people in the food chain industry. certainly teachers, daycare providers, and mink husbandry, which apparently there are mink farmers in Wisconsin, and the reason for that is that mink can be a very common vector for this virus, and so we want to
What?
protect them as well. You can't make this up.
Okay, I didn't know about that. What are the biggest concerns when people come for the vaccines? Or I'm sure you probably get a lot of questions. Actually, we'll just start there. What are the most frequently asked questions from people who want this, other than the ones that? Because I guess there's a whole bunch of people just don't want a vaccine for anything ever, or it's a needle thing or something, and that's perfectly legitimate. That's fine. But the ones that are actually able to get the vaccine right now, want the vaccine right now, but they still have questions. What are those, 2 or 3 most frequently asked questions?
Yeah, their concerns are, is it safe? This was brought to market really fast. Why was it brought to market so fast? So we've touched a little bit on that.
Yep.
The other thing that I didn't mention before is during this whole process, Pfizer, Moderna, and the other vaccine companies, they have been actually manufacturing vaccine and stockpiling it on the hopes that the studies would prove out that it would work. And so they had a lot of confidence. And so that's different than vaccines in the past, where we would do the studies and then the manufacturing would ramp up. The manufacturing has been ramping up all along. That's why we have millions of doses available to the United States and the world. And the biggest question is it safe? Is it going to change my DNA?
Nice.
Apparently I didn't move enough. And
yeah, Fitzy runs into this problem all the time too. Yeah, no, yeah.
Just when Ben gets born.
Yeah,
Sorry.
because of the way the vaccine works, it's actually stimulating our immune system to make the little spike protein that's on the ball of the virus. And so people are worried that the government is putting microchips in it, that they're tracing us. I've heard it all.
Yeah, I agree.
And they just don't feel like it's safe. And I'm here to tell you that I received my first shot and my booster. I felt no ill effects. There are some immune reactions that you could expect. You could expect a headache, certainly a sore arm, just like any other vaccination. Some people have developed fevers, but those fevers, they develop within about 24 hours after you get your vaccine, and they go away in less than a day. So in a sense, that is a sign that the vaccination is doing what it's supposed to do. It stimulated an immune response in that person.
We've all seen the Head and Shoulders
now, they
commercials.
Might be a tad bit uncomfortable.
Right.
But not as uncomfortable as laying in a hospital bed with being short of breath and being on oxygen. And
Yeah. So where do you think right now, where does it stand? Is not just Spooner Health, but I'm sure you have numbers or information just from like Northwest Wisconsin. So not specifically Barron or Washburn, but right now in our area, how are we doing with this?
I think here in Washburn County, because we got a head start here at the hospital, that we're doing very well, but we've got to keep up. And in order to keep up, we're going to need supply. We certainly have more shoulders that we could give vaccine to in this county if we could just get our hands on the supply. So that's really what's going on right now. I had asked for 2 full days worth of vaccine for this week, and I basically only got a little more than a half a day. So it's allocated based on need. There are certain parts of the state that there's a task force, and I tell you what, they have a huge job of determining where the vaccine goes, who needs it the most. But we could certainly use more vaccine up in this part of the county, but we're ahead of the game compared to many places because of our planning.
So what I'm hearing is Washburn County is doing better than Barron County.
Yeah. Well, I did take a look at those numbers, and it's difficult to say because
not for me.
The demographics of the counties are a little bit different.
All right.
And I know you're trying to bait Fitzy a little bit there, but
and we're at about 10% of our population vaccinated, and that's with either 1 shot or 2 shots. So that's how our numbers did We're at about or just over 4,000 vaccinations, or people that have got at least one shot, if not both shots. So, I think it's real similar, but I think we're running into the same thing down here in our COVID meeting yesterday. We have a core group of COVID people, and our doses, we asked for 500. We got about 125, I think. And that's just Barron County. Each hospital gets their own again. So the county's getting some, each hospital in the areas are getting some, but they're not getting what they want. The state determines that. I see that's a question out there. Who determines how many you get? It's not everybody's put in requests, obviously. And
Jeepers. I'm not going to read all that.
The state tells you how they get it, and then you register at your hospital. I assume that's how you do it, Tim. People register, or call your clinic or your hospital and register. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. So with the weekly allocation, like I said, we have a few people that we need to use for new employees. But then the rest we put up on our website, and the public can log on at a certain time each week and fill up those slots that we have left.
Sure.
So that's been working really well. Initially, we weren't sure if Spooner Health was going to be involved in vaccinating the true public, or whether we were going to keep it just Spooner Health employees and those that do business within our walls. But we decided that if we're allowed to get vaccine and we're allowed to be a vaccinating site, that we're willing to help out public health and take a little bit of the load off of them.
Sure.
So public health has their supply, we have our supply. The restrictions on the supply that I receive mean that I cannot move that vaccine out to the public clinic, that we need to draw up those doses and give them here within our walls here at Spooner Health. And
Sure.
that's exactly what we're doing now that we're moving on to the more public. You had asked me a question earlier, Ben, about when you might be able to expect one.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into this question that somebody asked. I think we touched on. Hold on, I want to get this above Fitzy's face. There we go. All right. Can we get it if you are not 65? 65. And that ties into all of this. So please continue.
Right. So at this point, no, not yet. But within the next round, if you are a public-facing essential worker, so maybe you work at the turkey store in Barron or other food chain. Maybe you work in a daycare center, maybe you watch kids in your home, then you would qualify under the next round. If you're a teacher, certainly you qualify in the next round. Someone that's 40 years old without any other health conditions, it's probably going to be a couple more months at least.
A couple more. That's what I was going to ask. Is like what kind of ballpark it here for the average?
Sure.
I mean, obviously we can't hold you to this, and there's a lot of things that will change. But are we looking at a year or 6 months?
No, I don't think so. I think by time we're wearing shorts and t-shirts outside, that we will have a lot of this taken care of, and we'll be able to resume life as normal. Now, just because you get the vaccine and you've had your booster shot doesn't mean you're free to go out to the bar. I mean, certainly as citizens, you can go out to the bar. That's your choice. Right. But you still should wear a mask. I mean, the number one mitigation effort that we can do is wear your mask in public. It's not necessarily to protect you. You're protecting other people.
You've probably heard that, because I certainly have. Masks, no. Studies have shown, and everybody knows, they just don't work at all. This has nothing to do with. Could you kind of speak on that just from your experience? Because we're told that masks work, but everybody says, or a lot of people say, that this is all. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but some conspiracy theory, or maybe it's they truly believe it doesn't actually stop the spread at all. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I sure can. Let me tell you how many cases of influenza, which is normally what we're worried about this time of year, that I've seen so far. 0. And that's because people are washing their hands. They're wearing their masks. 0 cases at this, by the second week in February is almost unheard of.
Wow.
Fitzy, I don't know what you've seen in Barron County, but I haven't seen a single case of influenza. So masks work. Now, a wise man once told me that you can't legislate the mind, and that's true. Your beliefs come from within,
sure.
But masks do work. I don't like being told to do something by someone else, but the masks protect everyone. from the spread of this.
Mm.
I'm a high school basketball referee as well. Do I like running up and down the floor with a mask on every night, blowing a whistle? No, that's a little uncomfortable, but we will certainly do it. And the players are certainly uncomfortable wearing a mask, running up and down the floor as well.
Sure.
But it's really proven to work, and maybe it's not proven to work necessarily with the coronavirus, but look at the other things like influenza, the cases of influenza. I don't know whether you guys have had a common cold yet this year or not.
I haven't.
I have not. So there must be something to this, and so I'm a believer.
Yeah. Now, let's say my mom or anybody has a mom or a dad or someone who has received the first shot. Is it okay to visit with them still? Or is it okay now too? Is that okay? Or is it not until the second shot? Or is it, no, it's still advised not to? Because I think there's still a lot of confusion for other people, not me, Fitzy. I already know the answer.
Right.
I really don't. Like, I don't know. Mom, I think my mom even got a shot. I think Dad did too. And it's, what does that mean for, I don't know, can they come over and hang out for an hour?
Well, if they've always been in your core group, then I would say yes. But if they haven't been, then I'm going to say no. And so, so we have a family of 3. We do everything together. If they've been in your core family, then I would say it's okay. You ask about how protected they are. So basically, after the first shot, you're about 50% protected, but after your booster, that goes up to 95%. And that's 7 days after your booster. So talking about the Pfizer vaccine, if you get your first dose 28 days later, which is you get your booster on 21, 7 days after that, you're 95% protected.
Sure.
And this is one of our fears, is that people think it's a get out of jail free card, that they can go do whatever they want, but they should still wear their mask and practice all the things that we've been practicing for the last year.
So we only have time for a couple more things here, and I apologize for some people who have already put some comments in. We're just going to go with this last one, which is, how can we build our immune system if we're always wearing a mask? I've heard that before as well. What is your response to that, or what would you say to that?
Well, there's certainly some studies out. Do I believe in a lot of weeds and seeds, as we called it in school, herbal products? Well, they're not going to hurt you, but there's no proof that they're going to work.
Sure.
One thing that we are fairly certain of is the people that do develop COVID, and the ones that get sick, there might be a pattern in them being deficient in vitamin D. So I've been taking a regular dose of vitamin D every day for close to the last year. I would recommend continuing to do that.
Okay.
Eat a healthy diet. If you don't eat a healthy diet, at least take some vitamins. I wouldn't overdo it on anything. Be careful what you read. Don't believe everything on Facebook that you read.
What?
That
unless it comes from Barron County Sheriff
Unless
Christmas
it
Jail,
comes
right?
from
Or Dryden,
Sure.
right? Hey, on that note, real quick, I do. You're the perfect person to ask. I do a daily COVID update. Obviously, we can't put all the information in there, and there's a ton of information on DHS's website. What would you like to see on that, or something that maybe we don't need to have that on there anymore?
I do check that site every day because those numbers are very interesting to me. And lately, the trend has been, it's Positivity Tuesday.
Yes.
The trend is fantastic for our part of the state.
Awesome.
What I like to follow is the number of active cases, and those are the numbers that are going down. Don't get mixed up with the total number of cases, because that's cumulative. That goes back a long way. And there's certainly some people in the community that are mixed up about that and making decisions based on that. We'll just leave it at that. But look at the active cases.
Active cases.
What I think I'd like to highlight the vaccine numbers that we're doing, and maybe some dispelling vaccine myths that we could put on there maybe once a week.
Yeah. I'll do it for cheap.
People are not growing a third arm or a second nose when they get this vaccine.
Yeah, that's right. So, Tim, I know there's some more questions out there. We're not going to get time to answer them, but who should these people call if they have a question like, when do I get the shot? And who do they call? Their local provider? Who would you suggest people call?
Yeah, so their
Spooner
local
Health.
provider would be a good question if they're curious about whether the vaccine is right for them or whether they qualify. Certainly call public health. Sherry Nickel in Washburn County is a wealth of information for that. If you happen to get to the switchboard at the hospital, they will probably direct you to public health. They're really at this point they're the keepers of the information. Spooner Health will continue to order vaccine in weekly, and we will make that vaccine available through our Facebook page or our homepage. So I would like the public to continue to watch that. When we get vaccine in, then we're opening up time slots. Typically, we get vaccine in earlier in the week, and then the time slots are on Wednesday and Thursday later in the week.
Sure. All right, I got one more question for you. Give us a good story about Mike Schaefer.
Oh,
Look at that. His internet signal went bad.
He signs my paychecks. I probably ought not do that.
Oh, wuss.
I got a question. Wait, I got a question.
Oh.
I got a question about refereeing. Let's switch topics and have a little fun.
Sure.
So, you're a referee high school?
Correct.
Yeah. Have parents gotten worse or better over the past couple years when it comes to people interacting with the referee?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I've been officiating for over 30 years because I started when I was a sophomore in college. So I would say this year it's been interesting with the limited crowds. And so if each player is only allowed 2 or 4 tickets, so the parents are the only ones in the gym. So any voice that you hear is from a parent. And as you know, parents know everything, and they certainly read the rule book cover to cover every year.
I'm one of them.
This year, we've said for a long time we'd rather have 2,000 people in the gym, and if we upset them, it's just this one big roar, and then it goes away instead of 50 people in the gym, and you can hear every person's opinions. So.
Yeah,
but it comes
I
with
know.
the territory.
We got hockey playoffs.
You don't become an official if you have thin skin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fitzy must be asking for a reason.
No, I've never yelled at a referee much in my life.
I've never much.
But no, we have hockey playoffs tonight, so
That's right.
Rice Lake plays Hayward tonight, so it's a big game, and the referees are always on my mind, and sometimes I'm a parent who loves the game, and I'm sorry for all the referees out there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a tough gig. All right, Tim, any last words? Anything you want to bring up, or a last message that you want to give to not just necessarily Washburn County residents, but anyone at all regarding the vaccines?
No, I'm here to tell you the vaccines are safe. When you become eligible as the public, please sign up and get your vaccine. Sure. That's the only way we're going to get over the hump. And we're working really hard to do that. We're really close. But sign up and get your vaccine.
Yeah, I'm not very important. Fitzy is, so I don't get the vaccine yet. I think, Fitzy, you're in that category as long for something.
Yeah. I've already got mine, my first and second, and I had no reaction either. Most of our staff, anybody that wants it, it's not mandatory. You don't have to get it. Mike talked about that for his staff too. It's not mandatory, but there's certain things that are going to make it mandatory, airlines or crossing the border and all this other stuff down the road. So I know people don't like that, but Tim and I don't set those rules. Those rules are set by people way bigger than us. So just do what Tim says. That's why we're bringing on the experts in this, and we appreciate Tim for all your time and your information.
Yeah, we should.
Thanks for having me on. Maybe we can do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Actually, we totally will when it actually gets even closer. We should make T-shirts. Fitzy, that just do what Tim. Just do what Tim says.
Just do what Tim says. Yeah, that's right.
Just do what Tim. Not
we got
Mike
a lot
Schaefer,
of T-shirts ordered because we have a T-shirt every idea every week.
I know it. Yeah, we got to get a hold of that, guys. Thank you so very much, Tim. Thank you for being on. Fitzy, as always, it's a pleasure. We'll talk to everyone, I think, in a couple of weeks now. So that is it. Special thank you to our guest today, Spooner Health Vaccine Provider Coordinator and Director of Pharmacy at Spooner Health, Tim Bassett, and thank all of you for watching. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by ICAA. ICAA is your local social service organization that works together with individuals, families, and the community to create and support local solutions for local needs. For a full list of services, find them on Facebook or check them out on their website at indianheadcaa.org. Right, reminder, Fitzy and I are off next week. Diane's Kitchen will be filling in, so we'll see you in 2 weeks. And until then, stay safe, keep your social distance, and as always, have a blessed